And good morning, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliates and subordinate nonprofits. Now, as always, some of this content may be adult in nature, so please use discretion when viewing with your children. My name is Johnny Rooster. Good morning, everybody. Little song I wrote there. I'm having a good day, and I hope you are too. It's Monday, the sun is shining, and today I'm doing a program. It's called Morning Mouth, How to Do Public Speaking Better. It's a better way to communicate your message in the most intimidating of all topics, public speaking. Now, at the 8 o'clock hour, we had some glitches, but Jay and I persevered, and we have a program, and you can watch that and listen to that anytime. It is on the do-it-yourself topic. And we like that because today's market really is honed in on the do-it-yourself. Do-it-yourself is all the rage. How people put things together, whether they're crafts, arts, whatever it is, the people that do that are really involved in it, and it's making a difference in the marketplace. In fact, some people even supply things for the market for others to create. Well, I'm a creator. I call myself a content creator. And in today's world, you have to do something electronically, pretty much online in all areas. But before I get into that, I want you to know that first things first. How did I get started, and how can you make use of public speaking? You might remember the number one fear is public speaking, even higher than death. So people would rather be in the coffin than the one reading the eulogy. So I get it. People are intimidated by public speaking. I'm sitting in a studio with lights and a camera. A lot of people are intimidated by that as well. And I see when I bring in a guest, there's different levels of comfort or discomfort. Some of them come in apprehensive. They look around and they're noticing everything, and they're not comfortable because they're not used to being in front of a camera presenting something to an audience. So I get them talking back and forth, a little banter, and let them start sharing what they know. It's all about what they know, and then they're comfortable again, and then they forget the camera's there, and then they can just go on. Now remember this, when you're sharing what you know, your comfort is going to grow. So you can write that down if you're taking notes. If you share what you know, your comfort will grow. As a public speaker and presenter, I didn't start out this way. I didn't come across smooth or polished or anything like that. I definitely had some hang-ups. So I'll rewind and go back and share my story of how I started so that you can learn how you can start in a public speaking effort. So here you go. I was born, my parents started a Christian school as I was in about 6th grade. That's when they formally started that school. That meant we were leaving public school in the classroom and going into my parents' private Christian school. We were intimidated because we didn't have a big group of people that we were around. So my sister was 2 years younger, my brother was 2 years older, and my parents adopted another girl from Korea, so I had an adopted sister as well, who was 1 year younger than I was. So we had 4 kids in the school. There it was. That was our school. We met in our basement. I remember as a younger child, when company would come by, we lived out in the woods. My parents had bought 40 acres in rural Christian County, Missouri, and they wanted to raise their family and raise crops. They remembered the farm life that my dad had, and he thought, let's raise some produce and vegetables and all of that. What we found in the southwest Missouri ground was rocks and clay, and it wasn't good soil for growing. But they persevered and they struggled through, and we pulled a lot of weeds and messed with a lot of poor soil. Never did a soil sample, never did anything like that. No, we just roughed it out in the ground. None of the above ground, none of the topsoil stuff that we use today. It was all in ground, in the rocks, in the clay, the dry. There's a lot of nitrogen in there, a lot of strange things in the soil. So we were working through that. But as a kid, we were kind of sheltered from a lot of the public. And when the people would show up at our house from time to time, we had a long dead-end road, a county road that dead-ended past our house, a few houses down there, and that was it. There was nothing else before our house. So you just come on down this road slowly, down the hill, down the gravel drive. Somebody would turn into our driveway to get to our house. We'd look out the windows, and we'd see them. And we'd be scared, and so I'd go running behind the couch in the living room. That was my favorite hiding place. My sisters followed me, and we'd get down under our hands and knees, kind of in the fire drill position, like, oh no, somebody's here. My knees are up on my face, my hands over behind my head, total fire drill position. And more than one time, my mom would bring the company in. They usually just greeted them at the door, said what they were going to say, and go on, because normally you're lost if you're out that far in the woods. But one occasion in particular, I remember I was hiding back there, my brother was back there, my sister's back there, 4 bodies back behind the couch, between the wall and the couch. We're on the floor in the position of fire drill, and the lady sits down, and my mom sits down on that same couch, and they visit. And they talk, and we're hiding and hiding. We can't get out now. We're stranded. We're trapped like rats in a barrel. Oh, that is not a good time. But when you get nervous, sometimes you pass gas. That's right. I did it, and we couldn't breathe back there. It was awful. We're trapped in our own fumes. I'm dying. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Mom just keeps going like nothing happened. The visitor's still there. We suffered greatly. My knees, my legs, my back, all numb, the tingly feeling of falling asleep. Finally, Mom gets up. She walks the guest out and turns loud enough for the guest to hear. All right, kids, you can come out now. We're leaving. Oh, ugh, how utterly humiliating. But the point is, when you're in the middle of hiding from people, you really need to get through that, work through that. If you're that scared to talk to people, I remember I wasn't the only one. Just recently I was working and in a grocery store, and a 16-year-old girl was there. It was her first job, and she was scared. And the first thing she had to do one day was go to another area and work in another area, she thought. She was so scared, she didn't want to leave her comfort zone and go to a new area of the store to work. They have a Starbucks counter in that store, and she had to go work in Starbucks. She was terrified. Now, the reality was, she found out later, she didn't even have to work in that area. It was a misprint. She thought she had to work in the Starbucks area. What did she do? She sweated it out for 2 days. I didn't know this until more close to the event, but she was looking at the schedule, saw her name as working at the Starbucks counter instead of where she normally did. She'd never done that. She was paralyzed. She thought about how awful it would be to have to talk to people she didn't know and to do things at that counter that she hadn't learned. She was putting herself through mental anguish. She was lathering over it. She was frothing over it, like throw in the eggs and stir it up with the beaters. You are foaming. She is now inside a volcano of fear. I'm surprised she even came to work that day, because she was paralyzed with terror over this tragedy of having to work the counter at Starbucks in the store that she didn't want to work. So I talked to her about it. She's down there all nervous. I don't want to talk to people. And so I said, well, why don't you just talk to the supervisor? She'll help you. And she's like, well, I just wouldn't want to feel like I'm doing something like I don't want to do my job, because I do want to work. I'm not comfortable. You just got to communicate. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but it's not okay to shut down and not communicate. So I was trying to help her. Hey, it's a new experience. You'll like it. You'll have fun. Let's go over. She wouldn't talk to the supervisor because she didn't want to look stupid, and she didn't want to be awkward. So this is the point. You got to feel you've got to be able to get through your feeling of inadequacy. To get through this, you've got to just push through. And so I took her over to the counter. I said, let's go to the Starbucks counter and talk to the people. I introduced her to the people at Starbucks, and they said, oh, well, she's not on the schedule. Let's look it up again. They called their supervisor. Nope, she's not on the schedule. We realized then it was a misprint. It was a mistake. This girl was relieved she didn't have to work at Starbucks. But you know what? Even if that had to go through, the idea of getting through a new situation, you need to mentally prepare yourself. Here's one way I did that. As a child, growing up, I only had my siblings in my school, and then later we got more students, and my parents added and advertised, and we got more students, and it built up to about 45 students, kindergarten through high school. So when I graduated, I was still the only one my age. There were several before me and several after me, but graduating alone, that's what I did. I was the only one in my graduating class. So still shy, I went on to college. I went to a college close to my home so that I could come home every night because I was too intimidated to live in the dorms or to experience something away from home at 18 years old. So I was awkward, to say the least. I remember sitting at the family dinner table, too intimidated to even ask her something that I couldn't reach. Pass the potatoes, that was too hard for me in front of my own family. That's how intimidated I was. The sound of my own voice made me feel awkward. The only people I could relate to were people younger. I would amuse and entertain children at church events, and I could talk to them and tell them stories. Now for the lesson for you. If you can transfer that interest, like me, I had interest in telling stories to kids, transfer that into the real world. I didn't know how to do it with my peers or my elders. Those were the groups that I had trouble speaking to. Because of that, I was paralyzed with fear like the girl that was 16, didn't want to work Starbucks. I was that person too. I could relate. So I decided I needed somebody to help me get through this. I didn't know it, but help was on the way. Here's how it happened. I was 18 years old. I was a freshman in college, and I decided I would audition for the play because at our little Christian school I'd gotten comfortable presenting and being in plays, and that was a good thing to express who I was and who I am. So I did that in the school, the little school. Now that I was in the college, it was 1,800 students. Not a big place, but much bigger than my student body of 45 where I just left. So I was wanting to be in the plays. I knew I could do it, so I didn't know the rules. So the first year I started, they said you go to the library, the campus library, and you check out, you get the script for the play, but it's on reserve. I didn't know what on reserve meant. Well, what that means is when the book's on reserve, you can't take it out of the library. It's for in-library use only. Well, they said it's on reserve and I'll need your student ID. Well, I never needed my student ID to get into the cafeteria like the students on campus. So I'm like, okay, here's my student ID. I don't know why you need it, but here you go. Then I took the script and I went home. A couple days later, a guy comes into my classroom and says, Mr. Smith is looking for you. Mr. Smith was the director of the plays on the college campus. I knew then I had done something gravely wrong. I had a script that was unauthorized for leaving the library, and I didn't know it until all of a sudden my awful awareness came to me. Perhaps I shouldn't have removed that script from the library. Maybe that's why they required my student ID to check it out. I didn't know because I didn't need my student ID like everybody else. I had to go in the cafeteria to use that to get in. So I didn't go in the cafeteria and I didn't need my ID. They're looking for you. So I sheepishly returned the book, the script, and realized I had to get my student ID back, and I was the one and everybody knew it. So I didn't audition for that play. That next year, I didn't even ask a girl out. I was really interested in girls, but I didn't ask anyone out on a date. I was too intimidated to go socialize with somebody, and I didn't know what to say. Second year of college, 19 years old. The same awkwardness, but I asked a girl out, finally got up the courage, Invited her to a concert that I wanted to go to. I really wanted to see David Meese in concert. He was a Christian music artist at the time, very popular. The year's 1984. He was the guy I wanted to see. I asked this girl named Terry. She's from Houston, Texas. She's used to a big city. I thought Springfield was a big city. She cried. She saw Springfield was so small. It was 140-some thousand people at the time, and she was so sad that it was so small. I was so intimidated that the city was so big. I came from Oldfield, population 27 or something like that. So we went out to the concert in the campus chapel is where they had the concert, and I sat with her, and then afterwards I knew I was supposed to do something, so I invited her to go to ice cream with me across the street on Glenstone Avenue. Got her in my 1969 Plymouth Valiant. Before you think that's a classic cool car, antique, vintage, it's not. It was a piece of crap in 1984. That 69 Plymouth Valiant was a two-door, and it was falling apart. I took her across the street in that thing, looking both ways, traffic on Glenstone, and then get some ice cream, and we're done. We call it a night. Well, she lived on campus, so there we go. That to say, we've got to be able to improve our game. We've got to step it up. How do we do public speaking effectively? Number one, if you're going out in public, you want to be able to have your topic well in mind, but you don't want it memorized. Do not memorize anything. Somebody was scared recently at a meeting, and she said, I've got notes here. I want to read them off my phone. Nope. Someone else said, nope, don't do that. You know the material. Just say what's in your head. So my son did that. He read notes, and it didn't go well in his high school graduation. It's just not a good idea. That scene is better left for people that want to prepare but don't want to read. Do not read your notes. If you want something to say what you love. Remember when I was intimidated as a kid? That's what I did. I was a kid talking to young children. Now, as an older person, now I was 19 years old, ask a girl out. That was my first step. At age 20, it was now my third year in college. I was a junior. I was definitely wanting to do the school plays. I figured my freshman year embarrassment was gone. I could erase that. People would forget it. I want to be in a play. So I auditioned for a play. It's called The Glass Menagerie. And this is how I became a public speaker. I took that script. This time I knew what to do, and I didn't check it out of the library. I kept it. But I read cold. Now, when you do a cold reading, you go up there and you read from the script whatever the director says to read from, and you're reading a part. I had cowboy boots, jeans, and a flannel shirt. That's cool today, but it wasn't cool in 1985. Everything was parachute pants, mesh shirts, really different styles, a lot of this mullet stuff going on. I was the awkward farm kid. I walk up with my boots, boom, 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 on that wooden platform stage, and then I read from The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. That was a play with only 4 actors. That was it. All the other auditioners couldn't make it. Only 4 were going to be selected. There's one main role, Tom Wingfield. That was the #1 role. Then the gentleman caller was a smaller role. And then there's 2 ladies. So I only had a chance for 2 parts in this play. I read the part. And my director, Mr. Smith, the intimidating one that I didn't want to talk to about my other script mishap 2 years earlier, he laughed when I read. I didn't know if he was laughing at me. I felt terrible. Later, I found out he was laughing because he really enjoyed my interpretation of that character. I got the part. I go down the hall. A few days later, the audition is over. Everybody's the cast list. Somebody said, hey, John, go see the cast list. I wasn't sure what a cast list was. Then I realized cast list must be a list of the people in the play. I went down the long hallway. There's this long, narrow, gaping hallway all the way down. I'm getting closer and closer. And all the real actors, the drama students, the people that have drama or theater as their major pursuit in life, I was a journalism major. I was not in the theater department. And so I was like, here I am. I look at it, and there it is, the script, the cast list. I looked at the bottom, gentleman caller. It's another guy's name. Then the 2 ladies, and at the top, Tom Wingfield. There was my name. And they go, who is this John Cockcroft? And I looked around and I waved. It's me. All the theater people look at me like, oh, congratulations. So there, well, after the break, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to find out how I succeeded in public speaking.
is constantly in the hospital, like every 2 weeks, because
if you were your age and you had to start a business because you had nothing else, what would you start?
I'd wait for the government to pay me money.
somebody sneezes and I get pneumonia. So I was constantly in the hospital, like every 2 weeks, because they wanted to come to school sick and the school didn't want to do anything about it.
And so I make it a point to say something about God at least once during every conversation we have. I have my crosses. I have that scripture box that if people sometimes just come in to drop off a scripture to leave in the box, and then some people just come in to pick up a scripture. So, if you're in need of some encouragement, just come and stick your hand in the box and pull something out, and hopefully God will encourage you that way. And sometimes it's prayer. So that's the one thing I love about this. Okay, this is one of my favorite things about this whole thing. Most of the time when I'm not talking, I'm praying. Like, I have no excuse not to be praying. My prayer life has changed in this massage room.
Welcome back, everybody. As you know, you're watching Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth, and you can tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. on AMG Broadcasting. I'm doing this to promote small business entrepreneurs, to promote nonprofit organizations, and also to promote performers and entertainers. Those are the three categories that I want to excel in and make people aware of. Not only that, if you have a small business in Springfield, this is for you. Springfield, Missouri, and the surrounding area. I'd like to invite you to be a guest on my program at johnnyroosterlive.com, guest sign up. We're doing a variety of things. That form is just meaning you'll get your information there for me to contact you and put you on the schedule. On johnnyroosterlive.com, you can also see a schedule there, a calendar, and find out when the next spots are available. I'm also using co-hosts on Mondays and Wednesdays. So if you're a woman entrepreneur or you're a mom and you want to have a voice, that's who I'm looking for. So I will challenge you in that direction. I have several of those lined up. Nikki Carter is a real estate agent. She does her own real estate business. She's a mom. I've got her on the Wednesday schedule, as well as Carol Throckmorton. Carol Throckmorton has also excelled in her own business, teaching people about different personalities in a group called Next Level Communication. She's also on the Wednesday schedule. Another one coming up this Wednesday for the first time will be Jennifer Miller. She happens to have her own nonprofit organization, a 501c3, because she has been a survivor of a brain tumor, and her nonprofit is exclusive for people that survive brain tumors and have issues with brain tumors. Another one that's on the plate is Tiffany Tutu. Now, Tiffany has written a children's book, and her husband is also the owner of TLC Property. So if you need some property management in Springfield, Missouri, or even down in Bentonville, Arkansas. So they've got other properties. Now, the other one I talk about, the next one is Kinsey Corsellini, and she is a pharmacy representative of women's makeup and cosmetics. She also does several other things, but you'll want to know more about these amazing co-hosts of mine, people that are guests on the show. In addition to them, I'm inviting you, an entrepreneur or small business owner, please be on the show and tell us what you do. If you don't have time to fit the 9 a.m. schedule, I'd be happy to come to you and also do something for you on your location, and I've done that. As you can see in the advertising, those are people that are sponsoring the show. That's $400 a month. You get 30 days of advertising with a unique ad, and you get 8 times a week. It's 5 times a week on the morning drive and 3 times a week on morning mouth. That's 8 times a week on the show presenting your message. I put together the commercials and produce those. I also use a variety of cartoons to do that. Here's one of our sponsors. It's Rob McClernand. He is with the Home Inspection Solutions LLC. Rob McClernand and his wife Tori. So this is a cartoon of Rob and all the things he encounters under the house. He encounters snakes and spiders and all kinds of creepy crawlies as he does the home inspection. So we have the snake here and slithering along. So I do that. Another one of our corporate sponsors, this is our Yoda, Kitchen Yoda. His name is Brad Schrock. And I have depicted him here as Yoda from Star Wars. Why? Because Brad is a guide, much like Yoda is, and Brad loves Star Wars. So that's what I do. And he is with Kitchenland USA. So kitchenlandusa.com is one of our corporate sponsors. Another one is Proformance. That's Proformance Lawn Care and Landscaping. This is Kent Wood, a cartoon of Kent. And he has a weed eater there. You can see that. But he loves to make yards look special. So Proformance Lawn Care. And if you'd like to be in your own personalized cartoon, let me do all of that. I know some of that stuff doesn't show up so well. When he has a green shirt on, you notice the green bleeds right through to the background because I'm using a green screen. So he's not really see-through. He just looks that way on the cartoon. Another one is Mark Williams. He's an insurance agent, and the idea here is that, well, insurance is boring, but money isn't. And Mark definitely is a rock star of insurance, and there he is as a rock star. He can help you save money on insurance as a rock star of insurance. Again, these are fun, expressive ways. We have another one. It's Brent Gilstrap. He's a real estate agent with Reese Nichols. He is also included here. And he has, there he is smiling away. He loves helping people. You can find Brent with his morning cup of coffee at Traveler's House Coffee more often than not. We really enjoy working with sponsors like this, and I totally enjoy helping them with their own message, a unique message, like Tiffany Kirk. She's a nurse practitioner over at OCH, WellPoint Family Medical Clinic in Marshfield, Missouri. She does a lot of singing on the job. She's a delightful person. Her patients love her. She really listens to them. She really cares. It's so good to be able to come up with these creative cartoons, different people in our community. Here's Nikki Carter, one of my co-hosts, and she's the real estate agent. So again, you'll want to be able to get your own personalized cartoon, JohnnyRoosterLive.com, guest sign up. You can be part of that, and we'd be more than happy just to have you on the show. No matter what you do, whether you sponsor something or not, it's all about you. Just do it for free and get in there and get your voice out there. I'll be glad to feature you on the show. This is Kat Williams of Courageous Business Connect. Kat brings people together. What is Courageous Business Connect? It's a place where business owners and leaders can come together, and every day, Monday through Friday, she has a different meeting for you at a different part of town, whether it's Springfield, Republic, north side of town, south side of town. She had one in Billings, she's got one in Arkansas, there's something in Ozark, there's something in Nixa. So be aware that Courageous Business Connect on Facebook, that's a good way to find it. Kat Williams will be your guide. She'll help you get connected, and she's great for referring business. I mean, wonderful for referring your business to other customers or people that would like to do business with you. As an artist, that's what I want to offer, is different ways to communicate your business in your way with your likeness. No matter who you are, we'd love to have you part of this program. And I'm a cartoon artist. I also do that on the windows of your building. If you have a storefront and you want me to create something, I did that for the War Zone, which is another one of my guests on the show, Vanessa Grimaldi. She has the Warzone Nerf gun arena. Her little son, he's 8 years old, they just love shooting the Nerf guns. So she started a business recently in Springfield near Campbell, and it's called the Warzone. And it's a place for parties and gatherings. You can bring your group and shoot Nerf guns. They even have some ideas for snacks and concessions and that too. So if you want to bring a birthday party along, or if you just want to do a team building event for your work group even, it doesn't just have to be kids either. You can do that at the War Zone. Again, I like helping people, I like promoting people, and I do that in a variety of ways. But back to the public speaking idea, when you're new and you're intimidated, sometimes it's hard, and I did that in college and I was intimidated. Then I got the audition, I made the part in the play, the main part. I went out in the woods, that's where I lived, and I had my script and I memorized my lines, the lines before mine and after mine. I got it down. And Mr. Smith said, when John Cockcroft goes on the stage, the energy level goes up. And when he leaves, the energy level goes down. I was so committed to that craft. I was fully immersed in it, and I put it out there, and I knew I could do it, and that's what I did as a character on the stage. Later, I realized I could transfer that to real life. Before that, I was scared to talk to people. But once I was a character on the stage, I could be somebody else. Then I realized I could be that somebody else in real life. I considered myself an actor on the stage. I consider every day an opportunity. What's my next line in this script? My script in life. You're in the real world now, and you're sitting in class, or you're sitting at work, and you want to say something. Be the person in the script. See, you could sit there quietly in a meeting and never say anything, but if you're in a Sunday school class or in a business meeting, or you're on a Zoom call, or wherever you are in a classroom, wherever you are, and you want to say something but you don't, you just ruined your script. See, your life script is the next words out of your mouth. It's not written down on a script, but it's there for you to say. You got a line, you need to say it, and say it in your character. Your character is you. You are you. The best actors are the ones that react. They don't just put on a show in a fake way. They react to whatever's going on. If somebody throws a punch, you react to that. If something happens, like this morning, we had an unexpected event with technology. It shuddered and stuttered and sputtered. So we didn't have the show that was perfect because technology glitches. But we just kept going because you give yourself the best every day. That's how you become a public speaker, by persevering, presenting on and on. I'm going to take a drink. Doing public speaking isn't for everyone, you may say. That's all right. You can do something when you talk to other people in a group. That's public speaking, whether you're the presenter or not. You owe it to yourself to learn how to communicate with other people. I'm going to share something with you. from what I call this crack screen. I have a phone that doesn't have a crack screen, and I have one that does. This is from the crack screen. What makes a good public speaker? Most good public speakers share common habits, tricks, and practices that increase their effectiveness. Here's how you do it. Confident body language. If you can hold your feet in one place and then move deliberately as you speak, and then plant yourself, and then move again without fidgeting around and shuffling papers and looking up and down, you win. Confidence. Shoulders back, head held high, smile, pause before you allow the audience to focus on you. A lot of people, they go around the table and they're at a business meeting and they're telling who they are. They'll say their name really fast and their business really fast. You don't even know it. I stand up. It's my turn to talk. I wait. Just a pause like that. That'll get everyone's attention. The first few seconds are crucial because that's when the audience pays the most attention to you. They're not sure what you're going to do or say. That's when you have them. That's when you got to keep them. Effective pauses is the next thing. So confident body language, smile and pause before beginning so you can allow your audience to focus on you. Give them a moment. Then effective pauses. Pause between key thoughts. Don't just rush from one to the other like an auctioneer. For example, in telling your story where you successfully closed a deal, I thought I had lost the customer, but something happened which changed the outcome from failure to success. Then you pause. That's going to signal the audience that there's a story element coming. A key element is on its way. Eye contact. Remember, making eye contact, if possible, with your audience. Sometimes there's lights and you can't see them. You could arrange with a couple friends or close co-workers to sit close to the front to help make eye contact. Look around at the audience. And a lot of times people get locked into one person and they just talk to that person and they're afraid to, they just don't think about it. They don't think about, look around here if people are over on this side. Look at them in the back. Even if you can't see them, it's always good to continue your focus in different parts of the room so that people feel like they're connected. Good diction, that's proper word choices that target your audience. Who you are speaking to should determine whether you use the industry jargon or if you're just going to keep it simple. My style, keep it simple. Make people, just all of them, understand what you're saying at all times. Those are some pro speaking tips. Tips for speech preparing. Choose your topic carefully. Try to present on a topic you're knowledgeable and interested in. You've got to have knowledge and interest in it. And be creative. In my approach, I like to have people do something they don't expect. I love doing that. And my show here, I bring people together that don't know each other well, if at all. In more than one occasion, in fact, on many occasions, I've had two people on my show that don't know each other competing in a very absurd contest, like blowing an artificial snowball across a table into a bucket. They love it because it brings them laughter and it gives them movement. And another time I had pieces of cereal, little colored sugary cereal, and they were blowing those into a cup on the side. Another time they were literally taking cereal that was Cheerios, putting their tongue on that and spitting it into a cup faster than their opponent. Again, these are people that are on city council. These are people that are business leaders. All kinds of people. So you can do this too. Bring people together, make it a joyful experience, get them moving. You're going to have a good time. Don't just stand there afraid of what you're going to say. Get your audience moving. Have them stand up. Everybody shake hands and high five or do something physical. Your speech will go great. Thanks for listening to these pro tips on how to be a better public speaker. If you have any more comments or questions, put them in the comments. We love hearing from you. Until Wednesday, this is Johnny Rooster, your host from Morning Mouth. Have a blessed day. See you Wednesday.